Hello traders, it's Samurai Trader here. Welcome to this training session. Over the last week or so I've brought up trading using fractals 3 or 4 times, and I've had at last count 19 emails from members and from the general public wanting me to explain fractals in more detail and exactly how you can use them in your trading, and why I have them on my charts, and also why I'm such a great fan of them. So the purpose of this video is to really give you a good overview of how you can incorporate fractals in your trading, and I believe dramatically improve your bottom line as a day or swing trader. Now, as we get underway, we are going to be looking at some live charts in a moment, so please go to full screen if you haven't already done so. And some of the setups and ideas and strategies that I discuss are all comprehensively explained in my Day Traders Fast Track program. But first of all, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. If you don't have my ebook, please go to my website at the bottom there, imadaytrader.com, and I'll send you out my ebook and other information about our course, etc. For $197, you receive the world's best day trading strategies. This is the last program, traders, you'll ever need to invest in. Anyway, I don't want to make this a big advertisement. I want to really get into today's subject. So, understanding the risk, by law I'm required to put this up. If you haven't already read this on one of my other videos, please do. And let's now get into it. Exactly what is a fractal? There are now societies set up, university clubs that study fractals. It's just an incredible world and way beyond me, a lot of it. Now, when it comes to trading, I believe the greatest person that's really broken fractal trading down is Bill Williams, and he's written 2 excellent books, New Trading Dimensions and also Trading Chaos. And I'm going to be showing you some of his work because I use it in my trading. I may have adapted it. I don't use his alligator lines, which I'll show you, but I do use some important factors which Bill openly has out there in the public. It's in his book, it's on the internet, he's in its books I should say, but it's very, very important that you understand fractals and how you can use them in your trading. So let's have a look. A common fractal has a minimum of 5 candles or bars, and if you like, what this has done here, it's formed a little swing high. In reverse, it can form a swing low, and as I mentioned earlier, we will go and have a look at them on a live chart in a moment. You can also have unorthodox fractals. They are not necessarily nice and smooth like this, but they can have jagged candles, bars, different size, and you'll actually even see them at times. You'll see 5 all basically forming a top. So there are different types of fractals. However, what a fractal is really doing is giving you a pivot point to trade from, to use for your trend lines, to use as a trading opportunity, as you're about to see. Now, you'll also see that we have it coded. That is, a little black dot will appear in some platforms as a triangle, etc., above the candles when you have a fractal form. Some of the benefits of fractals, well, they clearly identify pivot highs and lows, which is really important for trading. They can also help you identify clear trend line points. Now, if you've heard of Tom DeMark, one of the greatest technicians when it comes to trading in the world today, he's written an excellent book called The New Science of Technical Analysis. It's written some years ago now, and he talks about his trend line drawing, which he become quite famous for. When you look at it, what he's really doing is drawing his trend lines all based on fractal points, and I'll show you how to do that. It just makes drawing trend lines, it removes a lot of the personal discretion and makes it very rules-based, which makes it a lot easier. Fractals clearly identify potential trading opportunities. I'm going to show you just from the last couple of days some brilliant trading opportunities and how you can identify entry and exit points. Now, fractals also identify potential consolidation breaks when you go into chop, And Bill Williams, he talks about it basically when the gator is asleep, and he basically calls the moving averages that he works with or includes with his fractals, as I'll show you in a moment. And basically when the market is trending, the moving averages are spreading apart. They're what I call a fanning apart. And he calls it, he basically says that the gator is hungry. The alligator's hungry, its mouth is open. And when the trend is coming to an end, they start to close and the gator goes to sleep. And of course that's when you get consolidation and chop in a market. Now, if we'll see these on the chart in a moment, but just for your own knowledge, if you choose to set up the points or the moving averages exactly the same as Bill Williams has got them, there are the formulas. So you'll see that he's displaced his moving averages. Now most charting packages will allow you to do this. Many charting packages even have these included as one of their standard indicators. So if you are interested, you can, they're readily available. Now a key point is that, and I want to just bring this up in case you want to review this later, is that to have a buy, you'll see in a moment that a fractal hit has got to be above the red teeth, which I'll show you in a moment. And you place a buy order one tick above the high of a fractal. So in other words, you're waiting for the high to be taken out, and I'll show you that. And the opposite is true for a sell. So once again, getting back to using fractals, it's a very rules-based methodology. Now in drawing trend lines, and I'll show you this on the charts once again, here you've got fractal points, and basically to draw a trend line you've got to be drawing them against these fractal points. There are exceptions where sometimes you'll have such a straight trend, or it might be an uptrend or a downtrend or a retracement I should say, or a pullback, and the pattern doesn't form. But at the swing low to have it, say if this pattern here, say if this pulled right back, okay, you may not get another fractal point, but you can still draw a trend line up here waiting for the break. And of course there are things you'll do to confirm the break, etc. But you have at least one fractal point, and we'll look at that on the chart. Now also, if you look at various patterns, for example, I have patterns that I use which confirm a top or a bottom, and each one of these in the end are reliant upon a fractal point forming. So if you look at these for basically confirming a top or confirming a bottom, all of these are fractal points. Once again, it makes your trading very rules-based. So let's now go and have a look at the charts. So what I'm going to do is show you my chart and how I would use it, but we'll also have a look at how Bill would have his setup on the chart. Now what I'm not going to include is his indicators. He's got what he calls the AO. He's got about what's the other one called? Gee, it just slips my mind at the moment, but he's got a number of other oscillators that he uses on the bottom of his chart, which we won't worry about putting those up. So what we'll do, let's look at my chart here. So this is some trading I did last night, so I won't go into my trades over here. It was 3 nice winners for 2100, but what I do want to do is to show you the fractal points and the potential trading opportunities. So if we start from the left and go to the right, this red line you can see here is what he calls the teeth. And actually what I should do is pull it down. Now I'm going to show you, actually I'll show you his chart and then we'll go back to mine, might be easier. So what I've got on the chart here is the 3 moving averages that Bill recommends you use. So all of these have been offset as per the formula that I showed you earlier in the presentation. You can then see the little black dots are the fractal points. Now what you're looking at doing here is projecting to the right. So here you'd be going across and you're putting a buy order in, and every time I should say here a new fractal is formed, the most recent fractal becomes the actual information point. So if we looked at this one here, that was discounted when this fractal point was formed. two lower here, two lower. It plots automatically. I then put a buy order one tick above there, and I'm automatically stopped into the market. Now we go up to the next fractal point. We can see here. Now one of the rules are to go short, you want to have, or your price action, your sell has got to be under the teeth. Remember, he calls the red line his teeth, the bottom one is the jaw, and the top one is the lip. And see down here, the alligator's mouth is closed. It then opens up its mouth. You can see it's spreading apart. This is a metaphor he uses, and it's starting to close its mouth up here as it becomes less hungry. Here it's closed its mouth. It's no longer hungry until it starts to open up over here. So just to explain some other setups here on this chart, you actually had there a buy order put in. Now there are also certain rules and things that we do in the day traders fast track program which would discount that immediately. But if we look down here for my normal traders, you'll see there, traders, we've got very clearly a T2 setup. We can see that there. There's your entry, and we would have entered down here. We normally would not have been involved in this trade here. Up here we've got some divergence. You really can't see it, but you've actually got divergence, and then you've got a short. But getting back to, stay focused here, back on the fractal points here. Here is a fractal point. The buy point is above the teeth, so we've got an entry signal to go long the market right here. Now this is where, and you'll see it on my chart in a moment. By the way, what we're looking at here, this is the 1000 share bar on the ES. These are just as applicable on futures, forex, stocks. It really doesn't matter. You've got to remember, traders, that all price action is driven by two things: fear and greed. And as long as a market has fear and greed, the patterns, the same patterns, will appear in every market. It's a chaos theory, very similar to fractals. Fractals appear in every market. Now we then are looking now to go short. We can see we've got a little swing low here. You project it to the right, and you have then a sell order one tick below, and we are now short in the market. This particular fractal point out to the right, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. So let's now move along a little bit, and let me just scroll this a fraction. Okay, and you can see here the alligator's mouth is wide open, and here it starts to close. So you got nothing there, nothing there, but you do have re-entry points. Now here, as you get to know the patterns, you've got a re-entry here, and for my traders, you know this is a T25. We've got another entry point right there, and you'd be in short to the market. Now you may be thinking, where do you put your stops? Well, ideally on the ES and NQ, and basically any market, I always recommend 2 ticks above your closest swing high. So your stop would be 2 ticks above there, or if you had have entered here, above there, above there, and above there. And traders, please remember to make sure that your stop, because at times you get in at a very good price, your stop is not too small. Many markets like the NQ, you need to give it room to move. So we can see here, what about over here? So if we have a look here, haven't we got a potential entry because we're hitting it outside the teeth? Potentially yes, but another thing to consider is the angle and direction of your moving averages. You always want to be trading in the direction of your overall moving averages. Now when you start to see them come together, like you can see down here, all of a sudden the rules start to change. So let's scroll along here a little, and this is where consolidation comes in. So you can see here it then reopens. So what do we do in this point? Well, technically you do actually have an entry point right there, and your stop, where would it be? 2 ticks below your swing low. Now if your stop is too large, one of my philosophies is to always have a maximum stop, or the other consideration is to say, okay, the stop is too big, maybe I'll wait for the next trade entry rather than having my stop down here, because we still know we've been in a very strong downtrend. So where is my next entry point? There are two ways that you can enter these. You can either wait for the candle to close, which is my preferred methodology, is rather than have a buy stop put here and you get stopped into this and it comes down. You'll see this happen at times, particularly after you've had a strong trend. You can wait for it to close, or if you want to have a smaller stop, because when you wait for a candle to close, quite often the stop required is going to be larger. Now for many of my members, you know, here what have we got here? We've got T20. So we've got a T20 here. Is, you could classify that almost as a T21 if you wish, or here. So our next entry point as a fractal point would be here. Now this is what I call an uncommon fractal. That is, we've got on either side, but you've got this level here, and that of course for my members, we know that as a T25, and a very nice one. So let's now go and have a look at my actual trading charts, and I'll show you some opportunities there. So first of all, rather than be running Bill's moving averages, which is the teeth line here, which is the real essential one in what Bill points out, there it is there, and you can see my chart is that busy. There's so many things on there. So what I do have is the 8, the 21, the 34, the 89, and I've got the teeth on there. So the 21 works, in my opinion, as a great replacement for Bill's teeth. That sounds a bit strange, doesn't it? So let's just remove the red line, shall we? Okay, so we'll there we go. So let's now have a look at some of our trade opportunities that we have or had here. So if we go across here, we had a buy order in here. You could have, I should say, I actually didn't, but by the way, traders, down here we had a really nice pivot bounce. Okay, you then got another trading opportunity right there, and you've got one here. Now notice these fractals down the bottom here. Yes, it's under the 21, but there's nothing to connect with. This is under, nothing to connect with. So here you've had an entry. So what you're really doing here is taking the highs out. Now this one has been discounted by this one. Remember, you're always trading the closest fractal to price action. So winner, winner, winner. This is if you had have taken the fractals. We had winners there using our day traders fast track program setups, and we were in on most of those earlier anyway. But you can trade fractals as a pure standalone strategy. I mentioned on a video yesterday, back in, I think it was 2007 to 2009, we did a huge amount of work on designing automated systems for forex trading, for the currency markets. Extremely successful using purely fractal points. Now up the top here, what about this fractal? What we can see is our entry point is right on the 21. Remember, we're going to have a sell order in one tick below, which should be there, so you're okay. Where is my next one? My next point is across there. My apologies, you actually had one there. Where's your stop going to go? 2 ticks above there. Where's my stop going to go here? Ideally 2 ticks. You got a little swing high. Now remember, your fractal points are forming your little pivot points, your little swing highs. So perhaps you can see how many ways you can use fractals, and of course these plot automatically. So you actually were in here, my apologies, but you had, if you had decided on to take that, you had another entry here. Now you actually have an entry here, but there's another couple of reasons why you ideally you want to see your candle close in the direction, but also the further you move away from your moving averages, the more likely you are to have a retracement. Now for my normal members, of course, we've got there's our T20, is our T21 that I entered in on. Over here I had 34B. By the way, I used limit orders on all of these traders, and I got filled nicely, you know, on an order that I had earlier in the day. Was it earlier on that day? I didn't get filled on all of those. Was it there? No, it might have been the day before. Okay, so yesterday and even this morning I had a great trading day. So I had that little one earlier, then I went then a little later in the day did some more trading, so it was really nice, 4 out of 4. Once again, trading all of our mechanical rules. These are all totally mechanical. Why I entered these. Now you may be wondering just very quickly why I got in here. I missed that one. I forget what I was doing, and so I put a limit order in above the market, which lowers my risk. Digressing. So here these delivered all really nicely. Let's now go and have a look at what would have happened where we are now live with fractal trading, and we're 1:25 p.m. on Friday afternoon, and it's a Globex market. So what we're looking at here once again is today's price action. The New York closed, of course, and 1 hour later the Globex market opens, and I always wait for the market to settle down because you usually get some short moves before it really settles down. But let's look at this here. So the first tradable fractal was there, one tick. That would have failed, and you can see the little fractal dot up there. So you've got 4 flat level candles there, so there was a fractal point. So if you had have taken that one, you would have been stopped. You then have a fractal hit here, and you had a little double bottom, so you may or may not have taken that particular one. In actual fact, now remember, we're very cautious here. One of the rules you want to look at there is we've got effectively, if I can use Bill's metaphor, the alligator, the MAs are all coming together. This is a real danger zone. So our next trading opportunity is here, because what Bill is looking at and what he talks about is really setting a buy order, a sell order above the mouth, so that when it does open its mouth, okay, it's ready to eat, which is effectively you had a buy order here, 1 tick above there, and away you went. Your next buy point is there, 1 tick. Yes, I know we've got a pivot, but let's put that aside for a moment, and you're in the market again. If you decided to wait for a pivot break, here it is here. So you've gone up, come down, you've hit the pivot, and you've taken off again. Now for our members, we know down here we've got T2s everywhere. So you've got T2s, you've got a T10, you've got bounces, you've got all sorts of things happening. Now your next point is up here before the market turns, and of course our members know what have we got here. We've got an extended market, and we also have something that we call angulation. So we can see that wedge formation that we've got there. That's an area to be very cautious of when you've got that, because it's going to come back to the mean. Let's scroll along a little further, and we've got our beautiful classic double top right there, and right there of course we've got our T20. You had a T20 down there, of course you've got a nice T20 here. We come down, and what have we got there? Oops, let me just remove these lines. Just get rid of that, sorry traders. And we've got a fractal hit over here. Now notice these fractal points here, no man's land, no man's land, fractal, it hits the land, you've got a sell order 1 tick below there, and it delivered. Where is my next fractal buy point? Well, number one, is it above the 21? Yes, it is. That is, the buy points above 21, which shows that the market is turning, and away it goes. Now for members, with the 8, it's too sensitive. If you use the 8, I recommend you stick with the 21, which normally we wouldn't have on our charts, but if you choose to use fractal trading, you can. You know, it's just an option. Now by the way, with this being said, by the way, traders, I've got to say that all of our day traders fast track program setups, we would have been in on all of these anyway. There you would have been in, you had an opportunity here, you've got one there, you've got one there. So in a lot of these you would have been in maybe earlier. You would have been short up here anyway on your nice little double top, your T7. And just for those for my members there, you've got a T7 there as well. What else have we got? We've got an 89B. So you've got a whole range of trading opportunities. What have you got there? Look at your long term, you've got your T10 right there. Up here then you've got your fractal hit. Now here, what about this fractal? Notice here you've got no price action closing below the 21 until you go over here and where price action is still forming. If you're waiting for your candle to close, you haven't still closed below. So in summary, traders, fractal trading can be a standalone trading opportunity. By waiting for a swing high or swing low to be taken out, sometimes not sometimes, many of the times you are getting in 1 to 5 ticks too late. So there are strategies that will get you in earlier. But one thing I didn't show you, I just remembered, was the trend lines. So what I want to show you, traders, was this. Let me just go back to the 1000. What have we got there? Let's pull this up. Now, in drawing trend lines using fractal points, okay, you're going to project like that. Now you can see here you've got a fractal point, then you've got all of this and there's no fractals. In cases like that, I will bring it up and I'll wait for the break of the 8. So here I have a clear trend line break up here, but look at this here. Now, by the way, the mechanical traders and the automation that we worked on some years ago was this trade was totally discounted because of the distance between price action and entry, and there was no fractal up here. But if you look at this here, okay, so you're adjusting your fractal and look at that there is a very clear trend line break. Look at this one here. Now remember, I've just scrolled to a random area in today's price action, traders, and there is a clean break. So remember, to go long you need a falling trend line, to go short you need a rising trend line. Now this is a point that I mentioned earlier, the same as this one, where you may have to be arbitrary. That is, you take that there and you may be willing to say, okay, I'm going to take this trend line because I've had no other points, no other trend lines. I've got a clear-cut close above my 8. My entry point is here. So perhaps you can just see the opportunity in learning how to draw trend lines using fractals, these little pivot highs and pivot lows. It just means that you can make your trading very rules-based and mechanical in its nature. So traders, that's the end of this session. For my members, I'm about to go and record a couple more videos, particularly on the T20 and the T21, and also trading patterns. But anyway, we'll see you on the next video. Thank you.